This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted to be joined by Savannah Marshall. Savannah, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. Really good.
It's good to hear. Obviously, you're in camp now preparing for your next fight. Just talk to me about how your preparations have gone.
They've gone really well. We've been in camp now for about 6 weeks, so weight's starting to come off, fitness is starting to build, and starting to get sharp again.
Just talk to me about your backstory. You've got a terrific amateur record, World Championships, gold medal, and then Commonwealth Games gold medal. Just talk to me about those experiences before we do come on to your professional career so far.
Those experiences will stay with me for the rest of my life. Some of my best times in amateur boxing, also some of my worst times, and it's just made me the person I am today, really.
Do you kind of feel any added pressure to achieve similar feats in the professional ranks because of how successful you was as an amateur?
No, not at all. I think now I'm at the point where I'm trying to get as much as I can out of boxing, whereas in the amateurs everything was so serious and I had to win, whereas now I'm just more about enjoying it and gaining those experiences.
Is it difficult at the same time to enjoy it because you're with Hughie and Peter, who obviously have the ambitions to push on yourself and themselves for world titles?
Yeah, of course, yeah, but like I said, I achieved a lot in the amateurs, and now it's a totally new game and I'm really enjoying it. And I think this is what's made me be at the point where I'm just seeing how I can do, really.
When you start as a professional on the back of the successes you had as an amateur, is it kind of like in your mind you're thinking, I can't believe I have to start from rock bottom effectively to build myself back up again?
When I first turned over, yeah, I did, but now I'm enjoying it because I've learned that it's a totally different ball game. The pros is completely different to the amateurs, completely different. Even the opponents, there's little side tricks they do and things you can get away with, and even in the amateurs it's over within 4 rounds. You go 10 as a pro, and they're looking at me in those 10 rounds. So even if you get caught with a shot, like fooling your opponent, pretending you're not hurt. Whereas in the amateurs, you get hurt and then the bell goes and the fight's over, type of thing. So yeah, there's a lot to learn.
What are the biggest differences that you've noticed between the amateur ranks and the professional ranks?
The pool in the professionals is a lot smaller. As an amateur, you'd go to a tournament and there'd be 60 girls there at your weight class. There isn't even 60 girls in the pros at my weight class. So there isn't as many pros as what there was amateurs.
So for the rest of this year then, that kind of actually works in your favour in the sense that it can elevate you to the world scene a lot sooner than what it did maybe as an amateur. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with it. I think that there's a very large gap between boxers, how can I put it? So there's a very high gap between the elite, there's a big gap, and then the rest. So say journeywomen, there's only a couple of journeywomen, and then there seems to be a big gap, and then elite, there's a big jump. And I'd say there's only about 7 or 10 elite in the world, and then there's all the journeywomen. There's no in between. Yeah.
So how do you find trying to break into that mould then? How do you go about doing it?
Well, I have to keep reminding myself that, to be fair, I'm still a novice in the pro game. I've only had five fights. So sometimes I think, am I ready for a world title, or I can beat her, type thing, and then I have to keep reminding myself, well, in reality I'm only 5-0, so that there's plenty of time to grow.
So talk about your plans for your next battle. I haven't seen anything personally of an opponent. I don't know whether you might be able to update me now. Have you got anything lined up?
I'm hopefully boxing on the 29th of March, 2 weeks Friday in Newcastle, which is great for me because it's the first time I've boxed as a pro in the North East. So I'm just waiting for that to come off. That'll just be a 6-rounder, just something to start the year with, and then I'll be boxing back end of May, hopefully boxing another 10 round for a title, an international title. So that's where I am at the minute.
So what will be your plans in terms of the rest of the year? When do you see yourself eventually challenging at the world scene?
Well, if this year goes well, I'd like to be 10-0, another 5 bouts under my belt. and then see where I am, see what Peter thinks, and then hopefully push on for a world title at super middle.
How have you found training with Peter since you've joined up with him?
I've loved it, to be honest. I think because as an amateur, being on the Team GB, I did the same thing for 8 years, taught the same things, never got taught anything different, and then to switch to the pro ranks with Peter, like I said, everything's different. You know, you hold your feet a little bit more. There's no bouncing on the toes. It was just learning all these new things were really refreshing.
Something interesting you said there about, you're on the GB for 8 years. Something which I always like to ask people who were with GB for so long is, you're growing up and you'll stay in camp with certain women or the men for that prolonged period of time, and then you come away from it, and obviously in your case you're only with Hughie and Peter. Is it difficult to make that adjustment to not seeing your friends that you've grown so close to every single day, to only seeing one or two every day?
No, I still keep in touch with most of the girls on the squad anyway. I still talk to a few of the lads, so people move on, and 8 years is a long time, and I think I was at that point where I needed a change in my life.
Well, Savannah Marshall, I appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you very much.